Last bit of your science materials you have to work through, and this week we are looking at types of beam and joist. Now you're going to move away a bit here from the concrete and steel, but I need you to be able to describe timber joists, RSJs, eco joists and Euro trusses. Now, first off, we're going to start with timber joist. So timber joist, timber beam is just a piece of timber, but let's have a look at how we strength grade that. So you should all remember the difference between a hardwood, that is a tree that loses its leaves in the summer, so that's a deciduous tree, D for deciduous, and coniferous trees, C for coniferous. So the C or the D on the timber describe whether it's a coniferous tree or a deciduous tree or a softwood or a hardwood, and then the number quite simply is the strength. The higher the number, the stronger it is, and it relates to the amount of kilonewtons that that piece of timber can support. Okay, now RSJs, they are not reinforced steel joists, they are rolled steel joists. The name refers to how it's made, and the steel's pushed through rollers. Come back there. Now, super strong, but super expensive. They are expensive, not just because of the materials, but the manufacturing process, the amount of energy that goes into this. Rather than just chopping a tree down and putting it through a sawmill, leaving it to dry out and season, we've got to extract this out of the ground. You've got to get steel to about 2000 degrees centigrade to melt it into its molten state before you can form it into these I-beams or RSJs. And even once you've done that, whereas a timber joist, one guy can carry that up, they can cut it by hand or a small machine. Imagine the labour in getting these in and out of a house. So that begs the question, why do we use them in the first place? The reason we'll generally use these are because we want a nice big open span. So more and more in our houses that we're designing, we want our open plan living, and to achieve this we've quite often got to use some sort of steel frame. That can coincide or coexist with timber as well. You don't have to have just one or the other, so the two can work together, but they are expensive. Now remember, they're steel, they're going to expand and contract in hot and cold. Now, inside your house, the temperature shouldn't be that much variable, but your engineer is still going to have to take this into account when putting them in. Now, finally, this is quite a quick one just to round off. I also want you to look at two other alternatives to concrete beams and steel beams. You should mention concrete lintels as well. I'll leave you guys to look that up. But we've got here our eco joists. Our eco joists are just timber, but they're strengthened with these sort of push nail plates that form triangulation along the length of them. So that stops the sort of torsion and flex, okay? And then we've got our engineered timber joists, which are kind of like a timber I-beam. So we have OSB in the middle here, orientated strand board. If you remember, that's what most of the benches in the classroom are made out of. And then pine on the top and bottom, which is glued onto the beams. And again, the idea of the I-beam is that it resists flex, both sort of vertically and laterally, so it doesn't twist and flex out of shape. So in a lot of houses, these are a nice alternative to using an RSJ, a lot more environmentally friendly as well, because we're not putting all that energy into producing them. Okay guys, so that's it. You should have your presentations done pretty soon. I look forward to marking them.